Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and discover why a tiny, overlooked mineral might actually be the unsung hero your metabolic health desperately needs. You know, when we talk about blood sugar, we usually just hear about carbohydrates, insulin, and maybe a few well-known supplements. But today, we're going to look at a trace mineral that's quietly working behind the scenes, heavily influencing almost every single aspect of how your body processes glucose. And that mineral is zinc. We've got an incredible microscopic journey mapped out for today. We'll start with the unsung metabolic hero, explore exactly how zinc controls insulin and how it defends your beta cells. Then, we'll dive into why your levels drop, the research and risks involved, and wrap up with the absolute best sources of zinc.
Section 1. The unsung metabolic hero.
Magnesium usually gets all the spotlight when we discuss blood sugar control, and rightfully so. It's incredibly important. But zinc? Zinc is quietly, absolutely essential for the production, storage, secretion, and function of insulin. Now, your body needs zinc in much smaller amounts than magnesium, but its impact is massive. Folks with type 2 diabetes frequently have lower zinc levels than those without diabetes, and as we're going to see, that deficiency creates a seriously dangerous cycle for glucose control.
Section 2. How zinc controls insulin.
So, let's think of your pancreas's beta cells like a highly efficient factory, and zinc is essentially the ultimate factory mechanic across three distinct phases. First, making insulin. Your DNA has to be transcribed and translated into mature insulin. Well, zinc regulates the specific proteins that control this exact process, ensuring the insulin folds properly. Second is storing insulin, meaning once it's made, it has to be packaged safely. And third, releasing insulin, deploying it right on time when your blood sugar spikes. Without enough zinc, this entire factory line just grinds down, becoming highly inefficient exactly when your pancreas is already under stress.
Let's actually zoom in on that storage phase for a second, because it is fascinating. Inside your beta cells are these tiny storage compartments. In there, each insulin molecule binds with zinc ions to form what are called hexamers. Basically, these are stable, crystal-like groups of 6 insulin molecules safely packed together. Without zinc to act as this crucial packaging material, the insulin becomes incredibly unstable. It makes it much harder for your beta cells to keep adequate insulin reserves ready for your very next meal.
And when that meal finally comes and your blood glucose rises, beta cells release insulin into the bloodstream. But here's the real kicker. Insulin and zinc are actually released together. Zinc literally travels alongside insulin as an active messenger to keep your whole metabolic system communicating properly. This co-released zinc helps regulate neighboring cells, influences liver clearance, and even fine-tunes how your body is going to secrete insulin during future meals. It's an incredibly active signaling mineral.
Section 3. Defending your beta cells.
People with type 2 diabetes often experience increased oxidative stress. This happens when highly reactive free radicals totally overwhelm your body's defenses and actively damage tissues. Now, while zinc isn't an antioxidant itself, it crucially supports an enzyme called superoxide dismutase, or SOD. SOD happens to be one of your body's most powerful antioxidant enzymes. So, by supporting SOD, zinc effectively neutralizes dangerous free radicals before they can destroy your fragile insulin-producing beta cells.
But it doesn't stop at the pancreas. Zinc acts as a systemic shield. We know that chronically elevated blood sugar severely impairs tissue repair, circulation, and immune cell function. This makes zinc's role in collagen production and overall immunity an absolute lifeline. Poor zinc status slows down your healing process and leaves you way more susceptible to infections.
Section 4. Why zinc levels drop. If zinc is so critically important, we really have to ask, why do so many people have low levels in the first place? Well, the biggest culprit is a deeply frustrating biological loop. High blood glucose literally flushes this hero out of your system. When blood sugar is elevated, you actually lose more zinc through your urine. It creates this vicious, ironic cycle where high blood sugar actively flushes away the exact mineral your body needs to control it. Add in diets high in ultra-processed foods that strip away natural minerals, gastrointestinal disorders that block absorption, and just the natural decline in absorption as we age, and you can easily see why so many of us are running on empty.
So, how do you know if you are running on empty? The signs are pretty wide-ranging. You might notice frequent infections or wounds that just take forever to heal, maybe a reduced sense of taste and smell. Hair loss, skin rashes, and difficulty concentrating are also on the list. Obviously, these warning signs have multiple possible causes, but they really highlight just how systematically dependent your body is on maintaining adequate zinc levels across all of its tissues.
Section 5. Research, results, and risks.
Let's dive right into the clinical data and see if supplementation is the magic bullet it's often marketed to be. The research actually proves that stepping in with supplements does offer a modest benefit. Multiple randomized clinical trials and systematic reviews show that taking zinc can lead to statistically significant improvements in markers like fasting blood glucose and HbA1c. But there is a pretty big caveat here. The greatest improvements generally happen in people who are already zinc deficient or have very poor dietary intake. Basically, it helps bring a broken system back to its baseline.
Can too much zinc be harmful? Well, before you rush out to buy the highest dose available at your local pharmacy, we need to address a major plot twist in the research. More is definitely not always better. Remember this number, 40 milligrams. That is the safe, tolerable upper intake level for adults per day from all sources combined. That includes your food and your supplements. Crossing that 40 milligram threshold introduces a brand new villain to our story, and it is a perfect example of why we can't just blindly overload on single nutrients. Taking too much zinc actually blocks your body from absorbing copper, because both of these minerals compete for the exact same intestinal transport systems. So long-term high-dose supplementation can eventually cause a severe copper deficiency, and that leads to anemia, weakened immunity, and even serious nerve damage causing numbness and balance problems. It completely proves that more isn't always better when it comes to delicate metabolic balances. Not to mention, you can also experience immediate gastrointestinal distress and just a horrible metallic taste in your mouth.
Section 6. Best sources of zinc.
For most of us, obtaining zinc primarily from food is by far the safest and most effective strategy. A whole food, plant-based diet full of vibrant seeds, nuts, and legumes can easily provide the zinc you need naturally. Look at hemp seeds and roasted pumpkin seeds at the top there, yielding up to 10 milligrams per 100 grams. Just sprinkling a handful of these on your oatmeal or your lunch salad can make a massive dent in your daily requirement without ever needing to swallow a pill. But there is a slight catch for plant-based eaters. Whole grains and legumes naturally contain compounds called phytates, which bind to zinc and actually reduce absorption. Luckily, utilizing simple, traditional preparation techniques like soaking your beans overnight, sprouting grains, or eating fermented foods like sourdough bread literally breaks down those phytates. This unlocks the zinc, making it super easy for your body to absorb and use efficiently.
Now, you might be wondering, shouldn't I just go get a blood test to see exactly where my levels stand? You absolutely can get a serum zinc test, but you should know it has major limitations. Only a tiny percentage of your body's total zinc actually circulates in your blood at any given time. Because of this, your blood levels fluctuate wildly based on your most recent meals, your stress levels, a mild infection, or literally even the time of day you get the blood drawn. This is exactly why a normal test result doesn't completely rule out a cellular deficiency. Your healthcare provider has to look at the whole picture, your diet and your symptoms, not just a single lab value.
To wrap up our journey today, keep this thought in mind. Small nutrients can have a surprisingly large impact. Zinc is one of them, and your pancreas depends on it. Zinc is deeply involved in nearly every single stage of insulin biology. But remember, zinc should be viewed as an incredibly powerful adjunct to, not a replacement for, the true cornerstones of health. A nutrient-dense diet, consistent physical activity, healthy body weight, and good sleep are your real foundations. Zinc is just the ultimate supporting actor that ensures all of that hard work actually pays off at the cellular level.
So, look closely at your plate today. Ask yourself if you're truly feeding the microscopic assembly line that keeps your entire metabolism running. Are you getting those vibrant seeds, those hearty legumes, and those nuts? Making sure your body has this crucial packaging material for your insulin might just be the key to fine-tuning your metabolic health. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you never look at a humble pumpkin seed the exact same way again.